Peter, for some people in leadership positions, that premise would be very scary. It can create, say, I think some leaders have a low tolerance for fear. And you actually go into places where there is physical danger, actual real danger to your life, or your staff, your JRS people. So there's that, this reality that fear can sometimes hold us back. Now, some organizational structures reward exactly those three temptations. And a leader might have a fear that if they don't get more material wealth, if they don't execute their power, they actually are going to be viewed as weak. So from an organizational perspective, any advice for people who feel that sense of, and I don't know that people would actually label it as fear, but sometimes you see that it's almost like a fear of, we've got to stay in the safety zone instead of going forward where the organization should go. Where a leader might be so concerned about, is somebody going to like me, that the glory part, that they hold back.
Yeah.
How do you get them over that?
I don't know how to get them over that, but I just say it is there, and we experience it so often, particularly when people are afraid, they become very authoritarian. They lose that inner freedom because fear is the worst advisor. Nature says in some context about the rules of the discernment of the inner movements and spirits, as he calls it, that fear is one of the worst enemies of human nature. And fear is the tool of bad regimes, and fear, because fear can make us, to control us and to make wrong decisions. Nature says, don't make decisions out of fear. Yeah, because it's a very important rule, and you can have a rule for leaders: don't make a decision if you make it out of fear. It's not a good decision. That can be said very clearly. So make a decision out of consolation, what is good, what you want, But if you're making a decision because you're afraid of that, it goes wrong. And you impose also your own fear on the others. You make the other people being afraid. But deep down, it's your own fear. All the security madness of politicians like Mugabe and so on, all the security thing is their fear, but to cope with their fear, they impose on the whole nation fear. That's a mechanism. And that's not from the good spirit, not from God. What does Jesus say all the time? The risen Lord, don't be afraid, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. And the peace be with you. Two things he repeats all the time, the risen Lord. Very important, don't be afraid. So don't make decisions out of fear. And peace, make decisions which lead to peace. Another criteria, you can find it in the gospel if you think a little bit. So I think that's very important to have that in mind. Fear is not a good force. But of course, from where does fear come? As you say already, when we start to build the organization around ourselves, and I'm afraid of my own thing and about my privileges and my position, my name and so on, I do think one needs to have the freedom to, how should I say, what can help us? Also to let go. And I think leadership, there must be also inner freedom to let go. It's not always easy, Not to step down at any moment if there's a difficulty, but also to have the inner freedom to be detached. If you're too much attached on your position, then you make decisions which serve your own interest, and if that interest is a threat, you're afraid, and then you get into this trap of fear. Of course, in a certain way as religious, not that we are better, no, but it makes it somehow easier. I will not lose my food and my bed, if I lose my job, the Jesus will give me another position, another work, somehow. But also to be honest, of course, everyone can get attached, and we have enough Jesuits ourselves being hanging on to their jobs, not being available for new things. Obedience helps. Listen to others, As long as they want you, as long as the superior wants you to do that work, do it. It gives you also the freedom. And if you say, okay, I do it, I try my best, and if it doesn't work, the world is not collapsing because other people trusted you. You can do it, but that trust gives also the freedom to say at the right moments, and maybe you need to change and somebody else has to continue that work, you know. Inner freedom, detachment, but also the trust makes you free and not to establish your leadership in a kind of a very controlling and way of driven by fear about yourself.